I never thought I'd end up living alone at this age, and I certainly didn't imagine I'd enjoy it. In my younger years, the idea felt tragic, like losing the game of life. You grow up believing family equals happiness, noise equals life, and solitude equals something to be afraid of. But somewhere in my 70s, the quiet started telling a different story. Before we get into it, let me tease you with 3 things I learned along the way. Why many older men living alone actually have lower stress than married men. Why solitude can lead to more meaningful social connection, not less. And why scientists now believe late life independence may protect the brain in surprising ways. But let's rewind. For most of my life, my idea of happiness involved other people. A packed dinner table, birthdays with candles, arguments over who left the milk out. The kind of noises you don't realize you'll miss until they're gone. And slowly, life thinned out like winter trees. Children grew up, marriages changed shape, family got busy, friends drifted, and suddenly I found myself standing in the aisle of the grocery store, debating whether buying parsley for one was worth the effort. At first, I hated the quiet. I'd turn on the TV just to hear someone breathing. By the way, if you ever want proof that advertisers think older men don't exist, watch daytime commercials for an hour. It's either medication or vacuum cleaners, no in between. But slowly, the quiet changed. Not because the world got louder, but because I stopped expecting it to entertain me. One afternoon, I stumbled on a research article about older adults living alone. Apparently, a surprising number of older men living solo reported feeling happier than those living with family or adult children. At first I thought, who are these lunatics? But then I realized, for the first time in decades, I didn't have to negotiate my day with anyone else. No one complained about the temperature. No one critiqued my coffee. And most importantly, nobody moved my tools. If you've lived long enough, you understand the rage of misplaced tools. It turns out, scientists have been studying this. Researchers found that men over 65 living alone often experience lower levels of chronic stress because they can control their environment. Peace is underrated until you lose it. The funny part? Men living with adult children were the most stressed. I won't name names, but I have a neighbor with 2 grown daughters who visits my apartment just to sit in the silence like he's at a spa. Now, before you think I'm promoting some hermit lifestyle, here's the twist. Loneliness and solitude are not the same thing. Loneliness is suffocating. Solitude is generous. Loneliness says, nobody wants me. Solitude says, I can choose who I let in. Once I stopped waiting for people to knock, I started creating my own rhythm. Mornings became my favorite time. Just me, coffee, and a window that's better than any TV show. Then I started engaging with life in small, practical ways. Library readings, men's walking groups, volunteering at the senior center. You don't need to be charismatic. You just need to show up. Loneliness hates that. Here's the part that surprised me. Living alone made my relationships better. I didn't see people out of obligation anymore. I saw them because I wanted to. And they saw me because they chose to. Conversations became sweeter. Even short ones. Even awkward ones. There's another part the scientists mention: cognitive load. When you live alone, you have to handle your own schedule. Bills, cooking, errands, decisions. That mental engagement acts like exercise for the brain. I once forgot to pay my water bill and spent the afternoon solving the Rubik's Cube. That is customer service. My brain hasn't worked that hard since college. Living alone also forced me to learn how to entertain myself without screens. I started cooking again. Real cooking. Not those depressing boxed meals that look like they were prepared in a chemistry lab. Cooking for one used to feel pointless. Now it feels like an act of loyalty to myself. Of course, not everything is poetic. Some nights are quiet in a way you feel in your bones. I had one evening where the highlight of my day was reorganizing my socks by decade. For the record, the 90s socks had the best elasticity, but that's where purpose came in, not grand meaning. Just small, steady purpose. Water the plants, call the neighbor. Feed the street cat who treats me like a vending machine. The most surprising lesson was this. Living alone taught me how to enjoy being with people again. When you're constantly around family, you can forget how to appreciate them. When you live alone, every conversation becomes intentional, and that intention makes connection feel alive. I also discovered that older men living alone often age with more dignity than people assume. Not because they're stronger, but because they learn to rely on themselves in practical ways. There's something deeply dignifying about being able to say, I can handle my life. If you're listening to this and you're already living alone, or you fear you might be one day, let me tell you something I wish I heard earlier. Alone doesn't mean lesser. Alone doesn't mean forgotten. Alone doesn't mean unloved. It means you get to build your days instead of just reacting to them. And in the most unexpected twist of all, older men living alone often don't stay alone. Not because they find romance, though that happens too, because solitude makes room for new connections, neighbors, hobby friends, church friends, community groups, online groups, even the cashier who knows your name and asks about your cat. So here's the truth. Living alone can be hard, yes. But it can also be peaceful. And peaceful, at this age, is worth more than people realize. I didn't choose solitude at first, but I grew into it. And the funny thing is, once I made peace with being alone, I stopped feeling lonely. If you're living alone after 60, consider this the invitation nobody gave you. It's not too late to build a life you actually look forward to. And if you happen to reorganize your socks by decade, trust me, you're doing just fine.